This video is brought to you by box.co.uk, Birmingham-based retailer that stocks over 50,000 products that are supplied throughout the UK. Hello everyone, this is Imran from Gaming Till Disconnected, and today we're going to be looking at the MSI Nightblade Barebones PC. So sit back, relax and enjoy the review. The MSI Nightblade range was launched back in 2014. It's a 16-litre Barebones PC with an m-ITX motherboard. With this generation, MSI have updated the Nightblade with a Z97 motherboard. In our review unit, we had the Z97i Gaming AC. We combined this with the Intel i7-4790K, as well as the MSI GTX 980. If you want to purchase the MSI Nightblade with the components that we used, then head over to our UK sponsor, box.co.uk, who are selling the same spec machine. They'll build the machine and it comes with a 2-year warranty, so head over to their website for more detail. The link's also in the description below. Our review unit came with a 600W 80+ gold power supply, the motherboard, the Dragon fan, a slot loading optical drive, and a hard drive. However, you'll have to check with the retailer which components come with your Nightblade, just to be sure. In the box you can expect to find the drivers and a utility CD, the user guide and warranty information, as well as 2 antennas for the wireless on the motherboard, 2 SATA cables, 2 lots of slide adapters for 2.5-inch drives, as well as an assortment of relevant cables and screws to complete the Nightblade. The first thing I'd like to say is that this PC is surprisingly heavy, even at its bare bone state, despite its small stature, which isn't surprising as it's almost entirely made out of a zinc coated steel. So if you're planning to go to a LAN event, just take this into consideration. But it does mean that the case is incredibly robust and sturdy. You can carry it by the handle with all the components installed and not be worried that the handle will come off. Speaking of the handle, it's located at the front of the case, which also acts as the front feet that tilts the PC about 5 degrees to help with airflow. If you are inclined to carry it, there's a soft cover for the handle for extra comfort, but we don't need one because we're so manly. Staying at the front, you'll notice a honeycomb mesh at the bottom below the brushed aluminium fascia, which consists of an MSI logo at the bottom and a dragon emblem towards the top, as well as an opening for the slot loading optical drive. Moving a little bit above that, you'll find the power button on the right hand side, as well as some status LEDs, front USB ports and audio ports. Here you'll notice a button labelled OC, that activates OC Genie. While OC Genie is active via this button, the Nightblade will emit a red light from the honeycomb mesh, but we'll talk more about OC Genie later. Although the majority of the case is made from steel, the front cover, apart from the aluminium fascia, is made from plastic. The side and top panels all have ventilation holes, while the left-hand panel also has the MSI Dragon etched into it. Yes, it's a subtle design feature, but it makes it look really awesome. The left-hand panel is also kept into place with 2 sliding locks, to make it easy to access the components inside. Although these are sliding locks, you can still use screws to mount the panel in place. Staying at the back, you'll notice the power connector at the top, with the rear I/O ports on the left-hand side and 2 expansion slots at the bottom, and finally a space for a 92mm fan, which in our case was the Dragon fan. From this angle, you'll notice 4 thumb screws located towards the 4 corners, which also act as feet if you wanted to place the Nightblade vertically. Finally, on the underside of the Nightblade, you'll find another 2 vents and the remaining feet. As an optional extra, the Nightblade also comes with a dust filter for this location. Unfortunately, our review unit didn't have one. As you open the left-hand panel to access the interior, you'll first encounter a custom fan bracket, which can house either a 92mm fan or a 120mm fan. In this spot, we decided to install the Cooler Master Neptune 120XL liquid cooler. Staying on the subject of CPU coolers, just be aware of the limited space for air coolers. Ensure that they don't exceed a height of 140mm or 110mm if you're considering using the side fan, and make sure that the width of the air cooler doesn't exceed about 90 to 100mm. But MSI do offer an exclusive heatsink, purpose made for this location. Going back to the Neptune 120XL, I was surprised that it fit quite comfortably with 1 fan installed. With a single fan, we were able to achieve about 30 degrees on idle and about 60 degrees under a full load. Make no mistake, once you install an aftermarket cooler, there's not much room for anything else. To assist with installing aftermarket coolers, you can also remove the opposite panel, where you'll notice a cutout for mounting brackets. Another feature of the Nightblade is the ability to fit a full-size graphics card inside. Although we were able to fit the MSI GTX 980 Gaming 4G, something like the Zotac Amp Extreme may not fit so easily due to its bulky nature. Provided the graphics card you intend on using doesn't exceed a height of about 35mm and a length of about 295mm, you should be fine. At the front of the case is a location for the power supply, space for 3.5-inch drives, and the slot loading optical drive, along with all the necessary cables routed in place. There's also space for 2.5-inch drives above the motherboard. Speaking of the motherboard, it's a custom Z97i Gaming AC with a special BIOS and fan profile. But other than that, you get all the features MSI provide with their Z97 gaming range, such as Audio Boost 2 and Command Center. There's also another piece of software specifically for the Dragon fan. This adjusts the speed of the CPU and system fans. So if you feel that things are getting a little bit loud, you can lower the speed, or you can even crank it up if you're planning on something a little bit more demanding. There's also a custom setting where you're able to define 2 parameters as you see fit. The MSI Nightblade performed well with the setup we had, but how well it performs for you is dependent on what you have installed in it. Since we installed an i7-4790K with 8GB of RAM and an MSI GTX 980, we were getting admirable frame rates from this dwarf PC. This setup that we had played games very well. The problem arose when we pressed the OC Genie button with our relatively high-end components. Since the components already produce a fair amount of heat for the performance they give, pushing them even further with OC Genie meant they were producing even more heat. Of the several times we tried, the PC crashed once. The system simply produced too much heat for the cooling system we had installed to deal with at that time. There are a number of things to consider in this incident. The water cooler we used could only use one of the 2 fans provided due to the size of the PC, so the liquid CPU cooler wasn't being utilized at 100%. If we were to try this again, maybe we could have used an air cooler, that way the heat is drawn up and more of the heat could be blown away by the Dragon fan and the side fan. But hey, hindsight's 2020. But saying all this shouldn't deter you, because even without overclocking, our Nightblade setup performed exceptionally. Finally, MSI also offer an exclusive OC CPU cooler, but how effective it is we don't know, because we didn't have it to test it out. The MSI Nightblade is a decent machine. Our benchmarks show that with the right components, the MSI Nightblade has the potential to perform incredibly well. It looks appealing and is fairly discreet for the results you can achieve. Although I do wish that the front handle extended a little bit further for a greater tilt on the PC, for more airflow, or the rear feet to be extruded a little bit more. Speaking of the handle, I had a lot of confidence in its durability, even with everything installed. In fact, the MSI is quite robust as a whole. The trade-off for that durability was that it was a small, dense and heavy machine, but despite that, thanks to its size, it was easy to carry. And you can probably save on a gym membership if you start carrying this about on a daily basis. You could be forgiven for thinking that the Nightblade is difficult to build in, but for its size it's actually quite easy. Admittedly, MSI had done most of the hard work by pre-installing the motherboard, the power supply, as well as the other components, and they've routed the cables in a neat fashion. If on the other hand you wanted to do it yourself, you can take all the panels off to make life easier. If you are building a PC for the first time, then this may prove challenging due to the tight spaces, even with the panels being fully removable and the cables already organised. On the other hand, if you're confident in your PC building skills and you're looking for a balance between portability and power, then this could be something to consider along with the right components. Thanks for watching everyone. If you enjoyed this video then please make sure you give it a like, and if you want to stay up to date with the latest reviews, subscribe to us on YouTube, and don't forget to change your subscription preferences to be notified when we upload a video, or head over to our website, Facebook, Twitter or Google Plus pages. I just wanted to say thank you to our UK sponsor box.co.uk, who decided to sell the MSI Nightblade with our test specs, as a whole with everything pre-installed, with a 2-year warranty. So if you want a similar experience to what we had in our review unit, and you live in the UK, then feel free to buy from our sponsor. The link's also in the description below. You can also buy other PC related products from them at great prices. Unfortunately, everyone outside the UK will have to buy the components separately, as no one supplies our test specs as a whole, that we're aware of. If you're outside of the UK and you're going to buy the components anyway, then it would be great if you could use our Amazon affiliate links in the description below. It won't cost you a penny extra, but it really helps us out. Thanks again for watching, and as always, have a great day, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.